The issue of budget padding that was raised by way of a first question, I think substantially is an issue that should be targeted at the National Assembly, because the funding in its own right is indeed a function of what has been taking place at the National Assembly. But then, if you are talking of whether indeed the budget funding by the National Assembly in terms of perception is a disappointment, I agree with you that it is indeed a disappointment, and I share your sentiment that it needs to be addressed. Take a look, for example, of a project, a 5 billion naira project that is budgeted for by the federal government, meant to address a concern associated with a particular road presented to the National Assembly for appropriation by to address the appropriation demand of the Federal Ministry of Works. If that $5 billion naira project is now funded to the extent of 3 billion is taken away for other menial programs that are not indeed meant to achieve a greater good presented by the executive. The implication is, if we are budgeting that project to be completed in 1 year, taking away 3 billion out of the 2 billion, out of the 5 billion projected, will now perhaps take that project additional years for completion. So the implication is the priorities of the federal government are being undermined arising from a budget funding. So from whatever perspectives, with whichever perception you have in mind, budget padding, as far as the development of the nation is concerned, is indeed a serious issue that has the capacity, just like corruption, to set our development back. And I think it is indeed a great source of concern, and I share your perception in being concerned about the budget funding arrangement. Well, government has been doing something about it, and certainly government is along the line looking at the better way, better approach to handle it, and those ways and means that are now looked into, that are being considered by the government, are being addressed squarely. So there was no point in time at which the government overlooked the need for doing something, but it all depends on what has to be done and at what time. But be rest assured, it is a great source of concern. Government is concerned, and government will certainly has been doing something about it, and then will, at the end of the day, consolidate on what needs to be done in that direction. Now, on the issue of